Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guest today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. And today's episode is a topic or a theme, I guess, that we don't visit a whole lot, but I absolutely love here on this show. And that is the personal and human side of business, the mindset, what it takes to grow a company, also how to grow your employees as well. So all of that stuff we're going to dive into with a very special guest, Kundan Kumar, all the way over from India. Thank you for joining me and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brandon. And I love the intro that you gave about me and also of the episode. So thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward for a fun conversation here.
Yeah, same here. I'm excited to have you. And the first thing I have to ask you about is if for those of you listening, at least, under your title, it says founder and anti-CEO. What do you mean by that? Can we dive into there first?
Yeah, that would be a great start because for our topic, because this story began when we started a company and there were just five people. And then we had to tell the world that, hey, I am the final decision maker. So the whole team wanted me to hold this position of CEO. And that was like too much for me. As in, it didn't resonate. Nowhere I was feeling that I deserve this title of CEO. So kind of for a couple of years, we experimented with many titles because I didn't ever wanted to sound like somebody who's running behind the business, making people's life hell, all about money. So then we were looking for something, and suddenly I came across this anti-CEO term, and then I just stick to it. The whole philosophy about anti-CEO is that I don't run by the CEO rule book, which talks about the profitability first, because you have to make sure that your shareholders or the board members get rich. For me, it is the people. So it's a bootstrapped company which I'm running, and first the people comes and then the profitability. So that's how anti-CEO.
We are so aligned on that philosophy. I love that you take that approach. I often find that the other side of that, the one who is the true CEO role, those companies are often soulless places to work for, and the people burn out and you churn through them very, very quickly. So I love this approach. But we're talking about mindset and
Right.
also how to develop your people, how to have just a better overall mindset. So where did you get started with this topic? It kind of sounds like you just naturally operate this way, but where did it begin?
Yes. So for me, it comes naturally, and what I have seen is that when I was into a job, I was very careful about the things that I liked and the kind of conversations we used to have as an employee when we go for a break, and the kind of things people loved, people didn't love in a company or in a boss or in the organization or whatever. So I made sure that whenever I am running a company, however small it is, I wanted to make sure that people never go exhausted when they are done with the job. They should go home excited that okay, they were with the friends or they did something meaningful. So that's how was my initial approach, and this company came accidentally that we got together some few bunch of guys and we thought of making short films just for fun as a weekend activity. But then suddenly they were college graduate, they were looking for a job, there was no financial viability for them, and then they asked me that if I can help them, create a legal entity where they can make money out of the hobbies. And that's how this company was born. But then I was very sure. And I said, look, I'm a very cultured guy. So if we are creating a company, we want to make sure that we create something very, very, it's not a business, it's not a company, but it's an organization. And I always try to refer my company as organization, where people organize what exactly you're trying to achieve. Because end of the day, money is one of the commodity, but then if you have a good human capital, they go as in they stay with you for all your ups and downs and lows and highs. And since I had this global exposure, what I did was that there were four people who joined me as my partners. I took a 4 BHK house, and the condition was that for 1 year they'll stay with me because I wanted to make a part of my business go global. So they should learn what I had learned in my job years. So that's how I started, and I made sure that they learn all those skills, because many a times conditioning gets over you. Many a times, the needs gets over you, where you tend to compromise. And honestly, Brandon, since you asked, that's an emotional question for me, because what I have seen when I started getting into the business is that many people are not even trying that. Okay, things can be done in a fair manner. So those were the things I think, and those people are still. It's been 9 years. They are still my partners. All those five people. We are now a team of 25 people. All my the employees will love each other. It's a fun place to work. So that's how, as in, since the business sustained all across all the goods and bads, with the COVID in picture, we kind of sustained. So my idea got further solidified, and I hope to continue all my life onto this path. That it's not the human capital actually rocks in my world.
It's interesting because when you flip the script there and you put people first instead of profits, you often
Yeah,
get more profits.
absolutely. Yeah,
It's an incredible byproduct, but it's if you're
true.
not focused on it, it will not happen. It's not one of those things you can have accidentally. So how do
Yes,
you do that with 25 people on your team? You have these five initial partners that are still there, which is also an incredible feat after 9 years. What are some
right.
of what does your day to day look like to feed into your team?
So, just stepping a little back. So, after around 3 years, we were just five of us. We were working together. But on the third year or fourth year, we were hiring our first employee. I was very clear to all my partners that, hey, the next circle is going to form, and you should take care of them exactly the way I've taken care of you, or maybe better than that. Because when I'm teaching you something and when I'm being with you as a leader, I don't want you that I becomes the epitome of example, but something that you can take it forward. And that's how, every time it kept on growing. The only question that when I was hiring people I used to ask is, are you a good person? That was my only question in the interview. If the people says yes, they were into my company. As simple as that. The catch was that, I used to ask them that whatever right or wrong is mentioned in your resume, just strike it off. If something is right, just tick it. If something is wrong, you have just exaggerated, strike it off. So because we want to start this relationship on the honesty. And since I was a small agency, I could afford that. And what we used to do is we used to put the resume right in front of your desk, just pin it, so that for the next 3 months we can evaluate and we can understand each other. That so the action was speaking much louder, and we started on a basis that, hey, there is a workplace where people get valued if you're good to each other. And then, when I was into corporates, there was a lot of micromanagement used to happen just to make sure that people are working fine. There was a lot of funding used to go teach and to train people to behave and to talk nice to the client. My funda was that if you are a good person by heart, you don't have to be trained. You just take care of the people. It comes inherent, like. So that was the reason I was doing these interviews. So that's how we kept on growing, and now it has become a culture. So now nobody has to force it. Now nobody has to. With 25 people, I think after 18, it became a culture that it is a free flowing now. So the last part, when you ask how our day to day looks like, it's like every 10 a.m. we all get together. Mondays we decide, we look forward that how exactly the week is going to be. So if any department is highly kind of very high on urgent projects, and if the other departments are low, they will just come up and say, hey, we'll help you. So this is how we plan the week, and rest of the days we just at 10 a.m. we'll come together, we'll discuss about any fun stuff, or if there is any kind of stories that has happened which needs my attention, and then we just talk for 15 minutes and let people get back to their work. So that's how we have been doing it. Every month or quarter, we go out for lunch. Every year, we take 1 week of break where we go out and we work on our internal projects. So people feel valued. People are really into my vision that we want to create a global company. And that's how, as in, everybody finds their mojo. There is a flow. There is nobody forces it. So if there is a client project which requires people to work late nights and weekends, I would resist. I would say no. It will burn you, and my team will come and say, sir, let's do it. It sounds like fun. So the tables has really turned, as you said. The moment you start focusing on the people side, the profitability comes. But unfortunately, it is very hard for other people to understand and maybe just stick to it. So yeah, so that's how I kind of we are operating day to day.
I love that. I have to ask you though, do you still use that same single question to hire people? if you're a good person?
If if I'm hiring, so now all my the leaders, there are
Awesome.
business leaders, they have got onto it. But if I'm hiring, yes, this is what I do.
That is so cool. I love that. I've never heard of a hiring process so simple. I do love the resume piece, by the way, because
Yeah,
I actually it's my preference to not even look at one because I know it's all
yeah,
BS and made up in most cases in flowery language. Um,
true.
but it's really interesting how you have them go through and say where did you embellish a little bit? We'll
Yeah,
use that
exactly.
word.
Yeah,
Very very creative. So talk to me about the culture piece because it's one thing to be a good person. I think that's awesome.
yeah.
However, when you're joining this culture of people who have potentially worked there for 5, 6, 9 years, um, that's unique for someone to just come in and be either accepted and also accept what's happening. So, how do you get these people, new hires, up to speed and bought into this culture, and more importantly, to your vision of being global?
You are spot on to your question, and I am loving it because there is a key to it. We did try with multiple people, and then what we have realized over time is that it doesn't work with everyone. It absolutely doesn't. So, what the trend has come out that if we have started hiring people who are fresher, who are just fresh into this world, they adapt very beautifully to our world. But if somebody comes with a very high experience, they have this rigid mindset. They think that there is some kind of catch, there is some kind of trick why these guys are being so nice. There are certain people who love back talking, they love politics, but when they don't find it, they just move out, and we happily let them go. So it's not that we are 100% perfect and all our hiring goes well, but now we have started focusing people for right out of the college. They just love it. They find their place where they get accepted. So it kinds of work for both the ways now that we have to start slow. So we hire lots and lots of freshers and interns now. That's the plan is.
And do you have, I assume you have a very clear set of work instructions, we'll call them. It could be SOPs, it could be documentation training, so that when someone comes in, they have, it sounds like, very little experience. You can get them up to speed and be
Yes.
fully productive in a short period of time.
Right. So now, earlier we started with 1 month of the time that we used to give them to just hang around, honestly.
Mhm.
Now we give them 3 months of time just to hang around, just to talk to people, take smaller projects, but then at the same time, let them fail. And when they fail, in fact, we see the fear in their face and we make sure that we go and tell them, hey, it's okay. Don't worry. So, more than teaching anything, I think the actions from the colleagues, it's not only from the senior management, it's from everybody. When they see that safety net being there, suddenly they start performing. Okay. So
Mhm.
honestly, we are more of a humanistic. So we have very less SOP. And most of the document that we have designed is of single page. We tell
Mm.
them that, okay, we'll design something which fits your screen. We'll write an email which fits your screen. These are some human traits because I have a very high kind of love for the way humans operate, how the human mind behaves. So I kind of keep coming up with these ideas and they seems to be working. So yeah, now we have started working on SOPs, but at the same time we make sure that people are not always stick to SOP, but they bring their own creativity. I let them, if we have a free client or if we have a timeline, we let them experiment, however good or bad it is. Sometimes we felt that this is absolutely not we would have done and the client has loved it. So because being in a creative space, it's so ambiguous. There is SOPs do not always work. What our SOP demands is that yes, we make sure that the quality is there, we make sure that the timeline is made sure that there is no business impact is happening. So yeah, it's a mix and match. I'm trying to bring all those SOPs in place, but still I'm trying to make sure that it's not too much of it.
Yeah, I always took this approach of SOPs are there in case something happens and also
Yeah.
for basic training. So
Yes.
I'm curious to hear your feedback on this too. So when you create an SOP, it should
Hmm.
be for someone through the lens of an absolute beginner. If you pluck them off the street, they could do this without asking any questions. On the
Yes.
flip side of that, there should always be room for to encourage creativity and efficiency too. So if you see that the process currently takes, let's just make this super simple, 5
Yeah.
clicks of a mouse and you can get
Hmm.
it down to 3 clicks, you are empowered to make that change.
Yes.
But it's for the standpoint of, terrible things happen in life and they're unplanned. We need to have a backup plan.
Yeah.
So how do
Yes.
you how do you help people balance that, as far as saying, like, maybe we try you in this role and you actually have you're better fit for a different role down the road? What is
Absolutely.
what does that process look like? It sounds like you don't have the full set of SOPs in place, but you give them the opportunity to fail. So what does that look like in real life in your business?
No, you're absolutely right. And being sitting on that, the owner position and business position, and that too when a small agency is there, uh, it is challenging at times to make sure that you have enough money to make sure that you are supporting the whole ecosystem. So, these SOPs and these processes make sure to give you that safety net. So, I totally align with you. About the process to make sure that, we also give chance to people to bring out their creativity is something continuous thing. So there is a saying in our company is that how many questions you ask is the indicator of how healthy our organization is. So if you are asking too many questions, you are free to ask anything. So if there are people who start asking questions about SOP, we love it. We kind of encourage it. All right. And then we see either they understand whether the SOP is working fine or they come up with a something new idea and we let them happen. So usually there are two kind of people. I'm talking about the extremes for sure. We all are
Yeah.
mix and match of all the traits. But talking about the extremes, there are certain people who just want to follow a set of process. They want to finish their work and they go back home. They are not so entrepreneurial by the nature. They just want to do a job, get some money, enjoy their life. And then there are certain people who always want to put their mark onto whatever they are doing. They want to be have that leadership trait. So that's how we start recognizing in our one-on-one, in our day-to-day activities, and then we give them the chance. So it's a continuous process. Honestly, there is no such one method, but after 1 or 2 years it becomes very clear. And then based on there, so what happens is when we decide their KRAs, we give them a chance that, okay, out of 8 hours, pick how many hours do you want to design by yourself, and rest all we will design for you.
That's cool. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. This episode is full of gold nuggets, so I appreciate that. I'm curious though, what's the blend in your organization? You said you have the people that kind of just want to show up and do a job and get paid, and then you have the
Yeah.
more entrepreneurial type. Where do people kind of fit when the dust settles in your organization? What's the blend?
I think it's 80-20. I believe 80% of the people are with the leadership mindset.
Yeah, I would say that was going to be my
Yeah.
guess. You at least 70 to 80% of people who fit in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
bucket.
And honestly, we have kind of given them the liberty so that if you are working with us and if you want to do something on your own, we'll help you.
Mm.
So those are the small initiatives where we keep pushing people that, hey, you don't have to hold on to 8 hours. You finish your job in 6 hours and then do something on your own. You can sit in office and do it. So these are small initiatives because there are giants out there as a company, and they can compensate my people much better than what I can compensate. But then I, as a leader, make sure that I give them the whole life, holistic life. All right. So I make sure they have their health insurance. I make sure they have life insurance. I make sure that they have a healthy. So they get excited to come to office. And that's why when they go to interviews for other companies, they ask questions. Will you give me this benefit? Can I do this? And the company says no. And then they have all the reasons to stick to us, and for all the good reason. And for after 5 years, if people have started completing 5 years in my company, recently one girl, she's amazing, she started as a fresher, she has completed her 5 years, and then from next year I'll start giving her equity. So I'm coming from a very genuine space that I want to create some business leaders. It's not that I'm the only one holding the fort. Come on, we are like one of the generations. We are hardly minuscule of what the whole universe is. So that way now people have started opening up, and if they are taking charge, everybody, so we don't have managers, everybody talks to the customer directly. So suddenly the leadership gets nurtured, they feel respected. And it just happened like 2 weeks back, everybody came up with the ideas that, hey Kundan, can we do this, this will get us more revenue, can we do this will bring us the client delight. And I was like top of the mountain. Gosh, this is what is, you guys rock. So yeah, to your question, it's 80-20.
This is so awesome. I very clearly see why you are the anti CEO. But I
Thank you.
absolutely love everything you're doing. I can't thank you enough for being here. So we got to wrap this up. But if the
I
audience wants
understand.
to reach out, learn more about you, follow your journey, whatever that may be, where are some good places they can find you?
So it's primarily, I'm not so social media guy, so I stick to LinkedIn by the name of Unbinary Kundan. It's UNI B Unbinary, yeah, BINARY. So KUNDAN. That's my name, my alias name. That's a philosophy that I believe in. So you can find me on all over the social media. I'm working on a book, so hopefully I would try to get that book across the globe. So with all the best wishes, please feel free to reach me out. You can ping me over LinkedIn, and I'll make sure that you get at least your question answered. So yeah, thanks, Brendan, for that.
Of course, I love it. Wherever you're watching and listening, all of that is down in the show notes or description down below, so you can go check that out. Kundan, thank you so much for being here. This is a great episode.
Same for me, Brandon. And I love this human op and all the initiative that you have taken. And it shows, man. So a lot of congratulations and a lot of best wishes.
Thank you, my friend. And for those of you listening, we will see you tomorrow on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where guests and listeners come together to grow your business. We want impact-driven entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level in this group so we can all share ideas, collaborate, and grow our businesses together. Go to whatif.com/group, and we want to invite you to join today. See you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.